All right, here we are. This is our time. Here we are. We have a great webinar series for us today. And in it, we're going to be discussing our BridgeAthletic Build a Strength Conditioning Program from scratch. Now, a couple different things on this webinar that I want to make sure that I cover is that there is audience participation. So if you are joining us and you are jumping into this Zoom link, then just know you can raise a hand, you can get your questions, hit the questions in the chat. This is being recorded. It's going to be published there afterwards. Like I said in the registration, you will have forever free access to all of the videos here in this chat. So at any point in time, if you've registered for this, you can go back in time, you can rewind this video, and you can follow along once you have access to BridgeAthletic and the training program there in the system. So nonetheless, we're going to get into a bunch of different things, and this is a little off the script, if you will, right? I have a general outline of what I want to make sure that I covered today. We're going to end up going through today's session. We're going to build out strength and conditioning programs in it, right? I'm going to talk us through how I build out custom strength conditioning blocks within Bridge. How do we clone weeks across from week 1 to week 12, let's just say. And we're going to kind of go through the progression view. We're going to end up getting into talking about rep schemes and how to deliver templates and workouts to your athletes. Now, a couple background things just to tackle before we jump into everything. Again, if you're unfamiliar with who I am, my name, again, I'm Adam Ringler. I've been a strength and conditioning coach all of my professional career. I've started at Michigan State University. I went to Wichita State University, and I've been here at this university, University of Colorado, for this long. And I've leveraged a lot of different softwares over my time, from you name it, pencil and paper to Excel to Sheets to Train Heroic. I could name 100 different other programs at some point that we've used, but I am a huge fan of utilizing BridgeAthletic for my programming purposes. And as you'll see, as we go through this webinar and our outline today, you're going to see why I fell in love with using this program and just the ease and simplicity of what this program brings to your job as a strength and conditioning coach, how it enhances your programming, and how it actually saves you time. Let's be honest, that's what we all want. We need to save time. We want to be efficient with the way that we program, and this will allow us to do that. So that said, we are going to get into all of that. Now, I want to make sure if you are tuning into this, that maybe you have access to BridgeAthletic. If you don't, not a big deal. You can always sign off on the back end. There's a 30-day free trial, I believe. And if not, it's pretty accessible. It's pretty cheap. If you're a personal trainer, if you're a strength and conditioning coach, if you're a PT, if whatever it might be, right? You can gain access to this platform. But it would be better, right? Quite frankly, to be honest, it would be better if you had access to it while we're going through this webinar, because that's going to be really important, because you can follow along in real time. You can apply the lessons that we're going to talk about in real time. So if you have access to Bridge, jump over to the platform. If you don't, or if you're a rookie, or you've just signed up for a trial because you watched the intro of this, then perfect, right? You have a great starting point to be able to get into everything. So I want to start. We're going to pivot a little bit, and we're going to guide us through how to actually open Bridge Tracker and the program builder view. I'm going to walk through maybe some of the movement library, how to start to build out a program. I'm going to explain maybe some of the drag and drop options and the interface options that you have access to as part of the application, how you can build workout phases. And essentially it's a blank canvas. It's like Excel workout card, but you have control over it all. So we're going to get into that. So before we do, though, just a quick aside. I know we're 5 minutes into this. If you have yet to do this, depending on where you're watching this, you might be watching this behind the paywall that is adamringler.com. That's my personal website. That's right here, adamringler.com. You can sign up for a free subscription. Once you do, you get access to this video. It's not even behind our premium site. But in conjunction with adamringler.com, you're probably watching this in the way that I deliver these videos, and that is through YouTube. And if you haven't already, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you get access to these videos that are dropping. I'm dropping another video here in about an hour, and you're not going to want to miss that one. So without further ado, let's jump into what we're going to discuss today. And that is BridgeAthletic and building a program. So this is your basic template, right? This is the interface that you're going to see for the most part within Bridge. You have your teams in the upper left quad. You have your training library in the upper right. You have activity report, lower left. And then you have your analytics in lower right. For all intensive purposes today, I'm going to take us through the training library, how to build out a program, blocks, things like that. So we're going to end up just jumping right into this, and that is navigating the program builder aspects, right? So first things first, we are going to jump into this new program. Now, a couple different things about this is if I'm typing things out on this keyboard and what you end up seeing is my camera view change, it's just because I have different macros set up on this computer so that sometimes the views of our cameras might end up changing. If that's the case, don't freak out. I'll get back to the regular view. This is just what happens when we do live videos like this here in this website. But nonetheless, we're going to jump into it. I'm going to call this our BridgeAthletic demonstration program. Let's do that. And I'm going to click save. Oh, I can't do that. Why not? BridgeAthletic. This would be terrible if I'm not allowed to be able to do this at this time. We need to do it. Oh, it's because I'm logged out, silly, right? Listen, this is what happens when you do things live. So it is what it is. New program. We're going to call it AdamRingler.com example program. Love it. I bet this works now. Love. Perfect. All right, let's jump back over to this interface. We get this option now where we get to have different ways of selecting faces. We could do new faces, template faces from existing programs, our training engine. To be honest, as a strength and conditioning coach, I rarely use our training engine, but I often use template faces and existing programs, right? And that just saves time as you go through the application and the system, and you got multiple years of preseason training blocks. Listen, I've worked with programs now at this rate for this institution for 9 years. There's some things that you know you're going to do repetitively in preseason versus in-season versus off-season programming. You do not need to reinvent the wheel. You might change things, you might tweak things, but you might not need to reinvent the wheel in its entirety. But for our purpose today, everyone, we are going to do a new phase. I'm going to click new, and I'm going to call this phase, and I'd love to just call it phase 1, and maybe we call it off season, right? Sometimes I end up writing out more descriptions in it, like off season, July 2025. That way I kind of know where I'm at within the phase. That tends to help me out. And when you look at it, this is what we have, right? We have this basic program where we could get to iterate a little bit from it. You have day 1, you have a workout name, you have week 1 of 1 right here. You obviously have the breadcrumbs that go from home to training library to program to the AdamRingler.com example program to the phase option. Now, this is a good point in time where we can kind of talk a little bit about, we need to have the construct in our mind of what we're going to end up doing here. And what I mean by that is, how many days of the week are you training? Are you training 1 day a week? Are you training 3 days a week? Is it a Monday, Wednesday, Friday program? Is it Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, 4-day split? Are you training every single day? Because that's going to dictate how many days that you program out. A couple other things as we jump into it is that knowing your training blocks and your training days allows for you to really just get the skeleton system of a program. And so I would say 80% of my time is on making everything perfect in week 1. So when I replicate it, I don't have to fix everything replicated or multiplied by multiple weeks, depending on your phase. So I'm just going to do this, and we're going to do this live, and I'm going to end up making this a little bit bigger for us. And we're going to jump into workout name, and I'm going to call this upper body strength, right? And sometimes I use hyphens. I do like upper body strength day. I'm going to call this a 60-minute program because that's what maybe the NCAA allocates for us, right? And depending on your institution and your training blocks, the time's not nearly as important. It is when you multiply and you're doing like session RPE and you're multiplying it by the duration of the training time. But don't worry, the actual application that the athletes use when they log in will record all of that information. Now, upper body, 60 minutes. That is our day one. So there's a couple different things I like to do. I'm going to clone this day 4 times for us. And now I'm going to go just a Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. So I'm going to call that upper body. I'm going to make this lower body. I'm going to make that upper body, let's say hypertrophy day. And for our purpose, we're going to go lower body hypertrophy day as well. Hypertrophy day. Love it. Okay, so now we got the basics of 4 days across the top. We have our name description of what the workout is, but we have no training blocks, right? It's an empty skeleton. It's nothing is in it. And that's where we can start to leverage some of the builder tools, right? So, here we are. We're constructing week 1 from scratch. I'm going to add a training block. Now, a couple things about these training blocks. You can make a new block. You can make a superset block. I end up supersetting as a coach quite a bit. There are some custom blocks like rounds for time or every minute on the minute rounds or as many rounds as possible. I'll talk about why I end up using those because I actually do. But they're for some specialty workouts that I like to program for our team when we're doing circuit training and things like that. But for this purpose, we're going to do a superset block. And so there's a new block. We're going to add it and we're going to call this, let's call it something like movement prep. Love it. Once you do that, you get to assign exercises into this block. And that's really important. So we know it's an upper body block day, right? And here I am. I'm thinking as a strength and conditioning coach, what do I need to end up programming here? What do I need to do? So sometimes you reverse engineer your training weeks where you're going backwards. You're saying, okay, we're going to bench press or we're going to overhead press. And so therefore the movement prep needs to probably do something to warm up the rotator cuff, the shoulders, all of those things. But you got to have that in consideration. Now, I know on this day, we're going to end up bench pressing. Let's just use that as an example. So what movements might I want to do to warm up? So we use crossover symmetry bands quite a bit. I'm going to add those. There it is. I'm also going to call some halos. So like a half kneeling kettlebell halo around the head. And then I'm going to actually do, let's do some type of medicine ball slam. Let's do that. Medicine ball overhead slam. Those are going to be my 3 exercises. And then I'm going to click insert right here. And I'm going to insert those exercises and it populates out the block. Now, it populates the block out, although there's 0 reps, there's 0 pounds, there's 0 parameters assigned to each one of these. So in order to actually add some context to it, I'm going to click into the crossover symmetry. And then you could see that it loads up that exercise. Now, I'm going to do a couple of different things. I'm going to assign the reps. I can click into the drop down that is parameters, and you get to see all of the various options here. So I can actually say the bands I want them to use. Let's just say medium bands. And they're going to do 3 reps of our movements at medium. And then I'm going to clone this set. Bang. Now I got 2 sets at medium. The half kneeling kettlebell halos, they're going to go 3 reps and we're going to do a weight range. So I'm going to click into the drop down that is weight. I'm going to go weight range. So absolute weight lbs for my international people. Again, you could designate kilograms if you want to, but whatever, right? So from here, weight range, I'm going to say anywhere from 10 to 25 pounds. I'm going to hit the clone set button. And now I'm going to have 2 sets of that exercise. I click off the screen, it populates it to the left, medicine ball. You betcha, we do the exact same thing. We're going to do 5 slams, and I'm going to go, again, weight range, anywhere from our 10-pound balls to our 12-pound balls. And then I click clone set. There it is. I like that warm up. And when I click on the block, you could see it's a superset block, which means that when the athletes are actually navigating the block, it goes 1, the next exercise, and then they come back to it. So it dictates the UX UI when the athletes are navigating it on their mobile application. So that has tend to help me when I'm deploying programs mobily or remotely. So you could add a note in that movement block. Again, I spend 80% of my time working on week one and getting it perfect. If I get all the descriptions, all of the notes, all of the sets that I want, it makes it so much easier when you're replicating that block later in the program to a week two, a week three, a week four, and you're adjusting the actual like progression base of the exercises. So from there, I'm going to add a note. I'm going to say, take your time and warm up properly, right? But again, you could put any notes that you want there. Now, we'll get into saving it as a template. Just as an example, if I did want to replicate this, or I'm super proud of this template that I made for the warm up, I can end up saving that as a template for later. So that way, when I'm ready, actually, you know what? Let's just jump and do it live so you get to see it. I'm going to save as a template, and I'm going to call this my movement prep block upper body. I'm going to call it 2025. You could add tags as well of like the years that you're doing it. So that way it's maybe a little bit more descriptive. You could search by tag. It just makes things a little bit more indexable when you go later in the program. My template's been saved. Love it. Why I will do that? I will show you the exact reason why I like to save templates. But in this instance, just to demonstrate, you can collapse it. You could expand it. I'm going to end up clicking this clone button right here, and it's going to clone this block on the same day. So now you get to see that I have two of the same movement preps. Why would I want to do that? Well, I see that day 3 over here, I also have upper body. So now I have two upper body warm-ups. They're identical, but you could go ahead and swap exercises in and out. You could change it. I'm building out the framework, the skeleton system of what our program should look like. Now, in addition to that, we need to do that same action for our lower body. Now, to illustrate maybe the template block aspect of our program design and how to actually utilize that, why you might utilize that, I'm going to jump back over to the screen so you get to see it. Although it's going to replicate the upper body, right? We saved an upper body template. Why would I use that for lower body? Well, I'm just demonstrating the features, guys. Add block. I'm going to add it from my template right here. So I'm going to click into that. I'm going to search for what I just called it. I forget, right? This is what happens when you do these things live. But because I saved it as a tag, I can search via the tag. And I knew in my mind it was a 2025 tag. And lo and behold, there's our movement prep block. And I can just quickly insert it into that day. And you can see how quickly that comes back into our program builder. Now, yes, this is all upper body exercises. So why don't we swap some things out? Now, there's several different icons that we should probably draw attention to as we do this, right? Obviously, I can click and I can change all of these. It's just like Microsoft Excel, but more intelligent. But this little switch exercise, I end up using that quite frequently. So I'm going to switch this crossover symmetry to a hurdle hop, let's just say. We're going to go a linear hurdle hop over hurdles. Now, when you apply a switch, you have multiple different options that you can apply that switch to. You could apply it to the phase that you're building, the day, the week, the entire program, or only this instance, right? Now, this becomes a little nuanced and it becomes really important to do because if you're changing it for one day, but you have it toggled to change across the entire program, when you click save, it's going to change the entire program. I don't want that right now. So for this purpose, I'm just going to say only this instance. And then we haven't assigned any alternative exercises. These are progressions, regressions, or lateralizations or options that they could select. But you could also keep the same prescriptions. So I'm going to do one with the same prescription toggled, and then the next one I'm going to end up doing it without. So let's keep the same prescriptions selected. So now you see my linear hop, continuous over the hurdle, keeps the same reps, 3 reps with medium, but that doesn't make sense. There's no medium bands in a hurdle hop. So that's where you might want to change the prescription at that point. So worst case scenario, all you're going to end up doing is going back in the parameters. You're going to disable that toggle, and then you move on. So I'm going to also change the rep schemes while I'm here. I'm going to change it to 5 reps. I'm going to click off, and you can see that adjusts accordingly. Now, let's see. Instead of half kneeling, I'm I'm going to select and switch that to maybe like a single leg med. Let's see if that pops up. Medicine ball. Medicine ball, overhead slam, single leg. So maybe some knee stability. I'm going to click on that. In this one, just for our purposes today, let's change the prescription. And you could see right there with the click of a button, you get the rep schemes again. Now, maybe on this one, I want to go lighter ball. So I'm going to say only the 6 and 8. Only the 6 and 8. But instead of 3 reps on each side, I'm going to select 5 and 5. Are you sure you want to do it? Absolutely want to do it. And you can see how that toggles that change right there in the middle of the screen. Last one for our purpose today on this. Let's just change this to a jump rope. So I'm searching in. I'm going to go continuous jump rope. I'm going to change this up. I'm going to disable the weight because we're jump roping. And we're going to do 100 reps of jump rope. Cool. Now, I could save this if I love this template. Awesome, Adam, rock and roll. But for this purpose, all I'm going to do just to keep this thing moving, I'm going to end up clicking this sort of 3-button drop, and I'm going to end up cloning it. And then I'm just going to drag and drop it into my lower body hypertrophy day. So from here, we have now assigned a customized superset across 3 different 3 exercises in our movement prep series. That is an upper and lower split. Let's pop over so you can get to see it. It is our movement prep for upper body strength day, for lower body strength day, upper body hypertrophy, and lower body hypertrophy. And then from there, we simply have that 4-day split, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, let's say. I'm pretty happy with that, right? I could save it if I wanted to as a template set, but for our purposes, I'm not going to. I'm going to collapse this box down so that we can move on, right? We're 24 minutes into this. I want to make sure we keep rocking and rolling. I'm going to add a new block. And just for our purposes, I'm going to build out all of our blocks. Now, the way that I like to program, I'm going to superset things because that's just the way that I like to coach, right? That's efficacious with time. I'm going to program some high intensity activities with some low intensity mobility or prep or core or things like that. So from here, I'm going to do a superset block, and I'm going to call this primary block. You could call it primary, you could call it first block, whatever you want. You could max muscle. It's up to you, but whatever makes sense. I'm going to collapse that. There's 0 exercises in this block. I'm going to add another superset block for our purposes. I'm going to call this secondary block. And I'm going to close that down. And then, you know what? I'm just going to clone it to make it faster. And you can see I added it. I'm going to double click into that. I'm going to call it tertiary. There we go. That's what happens. And then finally, I'm going to do accessories. Okay. So I've built the skeleton structure of our day. We're going to go from movement prep to our primary movement. This would be like your A block, our secondary movement, which would be your B block, our tertiary movement, C block, and then some accessories to finish out the remainder of the lift. So from here, let's start populating some things out. I've yet to add anything to that primary block, and I think that's important for us. So let's add our main movement. And we talked about this at the onset of the show. We're going to end up doing bench press, barbell, and I'm going to click into it. I'm going to build out the first rep schemes. When we get to the day, and I'll skip day 2 on this example. I'll jump over to the hypertrophy block so that you get to see sort of maybe the rep schemes and how you can save rep schemes. That actually saves me so much time. But for this purpose, let's just build this out live. Now, we have several different things that we're going to do. I'm going to make the first set of warm up, and they're going to end up hitting 3 reps. And I have the option with this drop down. Again, this is in my parameters. Weight and reps are toggled. When I toggle weight, I could write the absolute weight that I want them to do, or I could do a percentage of their 1 rep max equivalent or their 1 rep max or percentage of an RPE difficulty. So that's up to you as a coach how you end up programming. Just adjust accordingly based on what your needs analysis is. So for this purpose, I'm going to jump in and I'm going to say their 1 rep max. You can obviously see, and I'm going to say I want them to do a warm-up set at 40, a warm-up set at 50, and then I'm going to clone this out, and I'm going to make these working sets, work set, and I want this to be 60%, 70%. I'm going to make this 80%. But I'm going to change these rep schemes to 5. Oh, look at this. It's your classical 5-3-1 program design, if you will. So very predictable of me. Now, a couple other things you could do here, right? This last block, as I'm looking at it, I could make it a required block. And when you do that, it becomes kind of a testing block, if you will. And what's cool about that is I could have them go for an open set. So because I have it set at 80% and I toggled that, I wrote in that I want them to do 80%, I get to toggle that I either want them to go max weight for 5 reps or I want them to hit 80% for as many reps as possible. And that would be your open set for last set, right? Let's just change that. That seems dumb. As many reps possible for last set. Cool. 2 warm-up sets of 3, and then 3 working sets of 5, 5, and an open set of 5. Love it. I'm going to close that down. And you can see when it does it, it populates it right there on the screen. So now you have it. You have your main movement there. Love that. Now, like I said, I guess we got to superset some things here, right? We don't have to. I could just make it purely. Let's do that. Let's just, no supersets here. It's just a straight block. And for that, I'm going to clone it. I'm going to drag and drop it. I'm going to drop it below our movement prep. And because that's a lower body day, I'm going to click into that primary exercise, bench press. I'm going to hit the switch. I'm going to call this, for our purposes, back squat. Back squat barbell, cool. And I actually want, in this instance, I want to keep the same prescription. I actually really like that. It's a 5-3-1 program, if you will. Now, I get to have that. It is no longer a superset because I cloned it after I made it just a straight set. And we have our primary blocks, everyone. Look at that. You have now created movement prep. You have created your primary blocks. Now we're moving on to our secondary blocks. We'll get into maybe copying some of this for the hypertrophy days, but that's simple, guys. We're 29 minutes into this. Let's keep rocking and rolling. I'm cloning it. I'm moving it because I'm building these together. We're doing this live. We're building these blocks together. So let's jump over back to the main screen. We are looking at our upper body day. What sort of accessories might we want to do? Maybe like an alternating dumbbell. Let's see what we got. Alternating. I'm just searching. Bench press. Bench press. Alternating cables? No. Dumbbells? Yes. And then why not we do something else here? I'm going to pair it with some pull-ups. Band pull-ups? Nah. Chin? Yes. Push-ups? No. So you can see that you can actually leverage the database of exercises in there. So I'm adding bench press and chin up. Cool. I'm going to click into the bench press. How many sets? We're going to just, for this purpose. Now, listen, this is not advice for you. I'm just kind of using this to demonstrate. I'm going to make this like a 5-3-1 big but boring type of program. So we're going to call 5 sets. This is going to be absolutely brutal. 5 sets. And I would like, I could do percentages, but let's do maybe an RPE, right? And you could see if I click the drop down right here on the main screen, you get to see sort of the percentages. Pick a weight that feels like a warm up, medium effort. That's a reps in reserve for 5 to 7. I want maybe like 3 to 5 reps in reserve. So let's just call this like 80. And you know what? For fun purposes, because the one thing I did not talk about that's so rad is when athletes input their weights into the iPad or into their mobile app, and they say it's calling for a 90% of percentage of difficulty, like a 9 out of 10 RPE, if you will. When you enter that weight, it's going to calculate all of the RPEs based off of what they've done. So the cool part about that is it will then predict what's a good weight for you. So that's super easy. So I'm going to do this. We're going to go 80. I'm going to actually delete this here. Sorry, you're not even looking. I got to get you in the right screen. We're going to start here. I'm going to go 5 reps of alternating dumbbell press at 80%. I'm going to clone it. I'm going to clone it. I'm going to continue to clone it. It's a big but boring, so it's 5 sets. There's 5 working sets. Here's where it gets kind of rad. I'm going to make this last one 105%. And I'm going to do that to drive progression. So I'm going to go 105. So in that instance, the system is going to adjust. It's going to say, hey, Adam, you just did, I don't know, 80-pound dumbbells, and you did it for 5 reps, and you said that was 100%. Next time you do it, I want you to try 85-pound dumbbells, right? So it's going to force athletes to try to use a little bit more weight. Maybe they don't get the reps. That's fine. That's fine. As a coach, I want them trying to safely progress in weight. So I'm going to end up doing 105, 100. Let's just keep working it down. 95, 90, and for giggles, we're going to go 85. Look at that. We built out that immediately, and there it is. It's populated right there on the screen. Here's what is kind of cool. Let's go over here. I don't want to do that. That's kind of some work. I just did all that. This little lower right-hand side of the screen, this little blue button that's sort of flashing, I'm going to click that. I'm going to copy this prescription, and now I'm going to go down to the next block, right where that lower right blue button is again, and I'm just going to paste this. Now my chin-ups are the exact same. Now you could say, Adam, are they using weights on chin-ups? No, they're not, but I could disable the weight, and then I still got it. Click off the screen. There we go. We're done. So now there's a couple other things that we could do from here, right? And I'm going to jump back over here for us. I'm going to clone this, and I'm going to slide and drop it over here. And I'm going to clone this, and I'm going to slide and drop that over there, because this is our lower body day, day 2, lower body strength day. I'm going to click into this. I'm going to click switch exercise, and I'm going to have our athletes do a barbell RDL. Let's see if we got it. Romanian deadlift, barbell, click. I want to use the same prescriptions. So immediately it changes the exercises, but it keeps the same sets and reps and percentages. Love that. That's so quick. Chin-ups. Let's hit the switch exercise, and let's do like a glute bridge here. Glute bridge. Do I want to keep the same exercises? Only 5 reps? Nah. Why don't we do 10? But because I'm lazy here, actually, let's do 15. You know what? Actually, let's do 20. Because I'm lazy, I'm just going to click apply to all right here on this screen. And now I'm going to change all of them to 20. Click save, click yes, we're moving on. Now I have that second block done. Easy money. Let's go tertiary. Let's clone this block. Let's drag and drop. And you guys are getting the idea, so maybe I'll just delete the accessory block, right? We can build all of this out. We're just going to do movement prep, primary, secondary, tertiary, and let's be happy with it. Let's go tertiary block. We need some type of rowing, horizontal. Let's do like a dumbbell row. How about this? How about you're like, coach, I have a program and I have some exercises and they're my exercise. How do I do that? Well, you just type it in. You're going to say, I don't even know of a crazy row variation, but let's say it's a Coach Adams special row exercise. Boy, I don't see it in the library here. Just click create new exercise. Are you sure you want to create a new exercise called Coach Adams special row exercise? Sure. There it is. You've just done that, right? So now I've added that. I could click in it. I'm going to say I want weight and reps. And I'm going to go 10 reps, and we're going to go an absolute weight, LB's weight range between 20 to 80 pounds. And we're going to do only 3 sets of that. And I'm just going to make, sometimes I do like trisets or giant sets as a coach, but for this purpose of this tertiary block, I'm just going to end up doing a superset, so that way we can keep this presentation moving on. So I'm going to clone it. I'm going to now switch this exercise to something a little bit more conventional. So let's just do like a plank, right? So I'm going to end up throwing a plank in. I'm going to keep the same because I want to show some of the other parameters and drop downs that we can end up using. So we're going to end up not doing time or reps and weight, but let's change it to time. So now they're going to do a 1 minute plank. Oh, come on, Adam. There it is. 1 minute plank and apply to all. Love it. But I actually want them to have some rest in between this, like 30 seconds. Love it. And focus on keeping your core tight. Love that. We'll add that note. Now it adds it to that tertiary block. And again, because I'm a strength coach who wants to save, no, I don't want to delete. I'm a strength coach that wants to save my time. I'm going to click this clone block button right here. It's going to add it to the same day. I'm going to drag it over to under my secondary block. And I'm going to just swap out the exercises like we've done. let's go. This doesn't make the most world sense, but we're going to do some calf raises with a straight knee. And then I'm going to have them go 20 reps, and I want them to use 135, not 1,300 pounds, 135, 225 to 135. I'm going to apply that to all. 200 reps. Are you kidding me? Let's go 20. Apply it all. And you can see how quickly things can change, right? Oh, did I do it? No, I didn't do it. This is on me, guys, right? We're doing it live. Calf raise. Straight leg. Click save. I'll just do it this way. We'll save it first. We'll change all this. 20 reps. 225. 135. Apply to all. Maybe it's my mouse. Probably my mouse. Click exit, and it's saved. The plank, let's not do it. Let's switch it up to TKEs. Terminal knee. Knee extension standing TheraBand. Not perfect, but I'll do it. And we're not going to do that. We're going to do just reps. And we're going to switch over to bands. I'm going to do 20 reps aside at a medium band. I'm going to drop out the rest sets. 20 at medium, apply to all. Again, because we want to save time, I'm going to click save. I'm going to click yes. And there we have it, right? We have our template block. Now, in this, there's a couple other things that we can do. We could look through here. I have my primary, I have my secondary, I have my tertiary. Now, this is not going to be perfect, but watch what I'm going to end up doing here. I'm going to end up selecting multiple blocks. I'm going to go here. And just to keep the logical order, I'm going to select this block, this block, this block, here. Don't want to do that. I'm actually going to check that off. Sorry, y'all. Here's what I'm going to do. Let's collapse everything down. That will make it a little easier for us. I've only done the movement prep blocks up here. So I think what would be better is that we select multiple. This is what I wanted to do. Sorry. I'm going to do this. And I feel like I can copy this. That's, again, this is, I'm not doing it perfect. There it is. Copy to multiple. Oh, I'm so silly. I want to copy that to this one. Now, I could go through and essentially do this, right? That's one way of doing it. And I'll just, for this illustrations, I'll just keep doing this. That's a real kind of inefficient way. I don't often do it that way. You could copy to multiple. That's fine. Whatever. I'm switching that over. So now you get to see our primary from our strength day is the same as our, hypertrophy day over here. If I expand out these blocks a little bit, you get to see it's built. But they're the same rep schemes. That doesn't make sense. So why don't we change it? I'm going to show you what I leverage all of the time because I have a database of rep schemes that I love, that I continue to program with. It's just something that I do as a strength and conditioning coach. We all have essentially the things that we favor. So let's jump back over here so you get to see it. I'm going to click into this, and then I'm going to end up doing use template sets. And then from here, I have some recently used. I have my templates. I'm going to click into Adam Ringler. You could see I built out 5-3-1s, week 1, week 2, week 3, the weeks of 5s, 3-1s. I have remote plans. I have big 40s. I'm going to do a big 40 rep scheme. And this is just an 8-set sort of linear progression from higher volume to lower volumes at a higher intensity. So I'm going to click this. We're going to start out at 12 reps, 65% difficulty, so a 6 out of 10 RPE, 7 out of 10 RPE, 7.5, and 8 out of 10. But one thing that I'm going to also do is these are kind of warm-up sets. We kind of know that. These are track sets, which means it'll hit your activity database at the home screen when an athlete logs that, which is actually really beneficial if you want to longitudinally track a lift. But I'm going to do that. I'm going to click out of it, and you can see that that changes. I'm also going to make this kind of brutal on chin-ups because this is our hypertrophy day. I'm going to change that to maybe 10 reps. Love it. And for illustrative purposes, not that I would, I'm going to click in. You can see how you could just click in on all of those. I'm going to change those to 20 reps. But because of that, I'm going to maybe have to bring the weight down. So let's go 10 to 50 and apply to all. Oops, I'm dragging it. Apply to all right there. Love it. Cool. 10 to 50 pounds, 20 reps. We have our hypertrophy day. That is done. Let's do the exact same, but let's do it in a different manner. So last time I clicked into the box, I copied to multiple, right? Maybe you're just lazy and you're like, I don't want to do that. You could just clone it, and then you'll see it creates it right underneath it, and you could just drag and drop. That's one way of doing it. Clone, drag and drop, right under the primary, clone, drag and drop, right under the secondary. And now we have our primary, secondary, tertiary. We're pretty much set up. If I like that rep scheme from our day 3 right here, but I want to replicate it across the Romanian deadlifts, not that I would, I'd probably change the exercise. But again, I can just copy one day's prescription, paste it in the other, and we're ready to rock. Now we have the same rep schemes on our hypertrophy day across our upper body day 3 as we do on day 4. I'm looking here. We got our calf raises. Okay, love it. The meeting has ended after 40 minutes of idle time. Let's make sure. Is it idle? No. Are we still in the meeting? We are. Okay. So, nonetheless, as we're going through this, a couple other things that might be important. And that is, I'm just looking here. I feel like we've started this meeting. We've been in this meeting. We've been going on this. From here, we are now looking at, we've gotten our day 3, we've gotten our day 4, we've done day 1, day 2, we've got our chin-ups, we got all of the exercises pre-planned and programmed out. It is right there for you. Let's pretend as we do this that this is perfect. This is exactly what we want across our day. How do we take it the next step? And that's where we're going to go into it, right? I'm going to teach you in this next phase how to go from taking that and actually applying a little bit of not the week view, but a load progression view to be able to change the rep schemes. So a couple things real quick. If you have not yet done this, let's make sure I can do this because sometimes my keyboard gets a little wonky. Let's see if this ends up working. It doesn't. Okay, that's fine. That's fine, right? We're all here. We're all going through this live on this live presentation. That said, I want to make sure that we do something. So I'm pausing right here for a quick second. Pausing. We got to end up doing one thing. We need to change this. So I am going to go here. We are going to go, no, okay, that's fine. That's how things work when you're doing live presentations. Let's move on. Let's go back to the website. Here we are. Let's jump into what I just shared, the load progression view. This is where a lot of the cool aspects of Bridge really helps me out as a coach. So if you are happy, like I said at the onset of this show, right? You've spent 80% of your time refining out your day, your week 1, and your days. You got your exercises, you got your supersets, you got your basic rep schemes that you want to do. Where do we go from here? Well, I now change to that load progression view because now, instead of it having your day 1 through day 4, you can toggle day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4 from a progression standpoint, right? So let's say we wanted to do a 4-week phase. Let's go back to maybe this week view. I'm going to do these. I could add a day if I wanted to, but no. I don't want to do that. I want to jump into this week action. And from here, I'm going to end up going and cloning the week. Clone, and you can see it immediately goes week 2 of 2. Clone, let's do it again. Bang, week 3 of 3. Clone one more time. Week 4 of 4. And I do that because when I jump back over to that load progression view, now I have 4 weeks, week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4 of our days. So maybe you want to build volume, right? Let's say in this aspect of our upper body, our day 1, our strength day, I want to add a set to each of our, like we're accumulating some volume. So I'm cloning those out and we're going to replicate that out. Bang, bang, bang. Oops, I actually cloned an exercise, not what I wanted. So right there, clone set. So now we have 2 weeks of 2 sets. We have 2 weeks here of 3 sets. Let's collapse that down. Let's click out of there. Let's go to the primary block, right? We already discussed that we wanted to make this a 5-3-1 program, right? And we have our first week of fives, right? I could go over here and just quickly change this to 3 and this to 5-3-1. I'm not going to change week 3 because I want to show you something. And I could say, hey, I want to do, we're going to go 70, 80, and I'm going to change this to 90 for our 3-3-3-3-3. Again, first 2 sets as we click into it are warm-up sets. The last 3 sets are work sets, and 3 reps, as many reps as possible, right? So that's easy. One thing you can also leverage, though, as I talked about maybe earlier in the presentation, is that you could click into this, and now I could go down and use template sets again. So I know that I love using this 5-3-1 schema. So I'm going to go to my 5-3-1 week of ones. I'm going to click that, assign it, and you could see that I now have, 3 warm-up sets. I turn these to tracking sets, and now I'm hitting a heavy one. I love that, right? Click save. There we have it. And then maybe on this week 4, for this instance, I'm just going to take some volume out because let's call it a deload. So now instead of doing big but boring 5 sets, I'm dropping everything down to 3 sets here. This was already, no, and this is going to drop down to 2. So we're just dropping some volume. Here, maybe I want to make this pretty vanilla, and I'm just going to say I want 5 reps at, maybe like 50, 60, 70. That way we get a nice little deload here going into this. Turn these to work sets, and bravo, we have a 5-3-1 program here. Now, you could go through and you could change any of these exercises. Oh, shoot, I dragged it away. You could change any of these exercises in your program. And it just makes it ridiculously simple to be able to add progressive overload. So let's say we wanted to do, and this isn't perfect, and I wouldn't probably do this in a big but boring sort of rep scheme, set scheme, but let's say we're going to do 5 sets of 5. And then here, 5 sets of 6, right? And this is how simple you can build out progressions. And we're just adding volume right here. And then maybe we wanted, I'll keep that at 5 as a deload from here. So I build out 1. I could do the exact same aspect on my day 2. I look here, right? But instead, because I know I have that 5-3 rep scheme already set and established in our program, I could just go here, use template sets, go to mine, and find my week of 3, click yes, because I've saved that as a rep scheme. I'm going to go here, click on this block. I'm going to go use template set, Adam Ringler, and do my week of ones, click yes. And now I have 5, 3, 1, and a deload. Let's go ahead and take some volume out. Let's change the reps around. And you can see how very, very quickly you can go from having a skeleton program to having something that is scalable, deliverable across all of your athletes, across all of your programs in a blink of an eye. That quick. That's the beauty of having robust software that allows for you to make programming changes quickly as possible. So I think we get the idea of that. Now it's not perfect. I didn't do the lower body day. If we were to jump back over here, I didn't do our hypertrophy day for lower body. Let's jump back to our week view. Although I could, you know what? Let's do it. We're here, everyone. That's what this presentation is about. You didn't come here to get half measures. So let's jump over here. I'm going to click into here. We're going to go primary block. And I'm going to go day 3. Now, this is cloned, right? So let's do a couple template sets here. Day 3 of 4. Use template set. I'm going to go here. Sorry, I'm looking at my screen. And I'm going to do my finish with 8s. Nah, not a wave. This is right here. Check. So it's going to start 12 reps, 10 reps, 8 reps, 6 reps. I'm going to click here. And you can see how I've already built these out so that I can just quickly toggle them when I want to. So instead of finishing with 6, we'll finish with 4. build. And then maybe on this week 3, use template set. I'll switch over here so you guys don't have to look at my face. I'm going to switch to week finish with 2s. This wouldn't make sense because week 4 is kind of a deload, but you could just, for visualization purposes, I'm going to use one more template set. Let's say you're building maybe a 6-week wave or something else. I'm going to finish with 1s. And now you get to see across 4 weeks, I've changed all the reps, all the percentages in about 3 seconds. From 12 to 10 to 8 to 6, we're working our way, we're sort of surfing the curve, if you will, all the way down. And so that's super easy to do across all of your days. I could just click right back in here. I could replicate that same process. We go into it. Jump back over here. We click in. Let's finish with 6s. Click yes. Super easy. Let's go back here. Use template. Let's finish with 4s. Click yes. Move here. I'm trying to speed run through this so that you get to see the actions of it, right? Not waves. Finish with 2s, doubles at 90% or a 9 out of 10 RPE, so very little reps in reserve. These could be percentages of max as well if you want to get crazy with it. And then let's go, last one, use template set. Although again, week 4 is a deload in this example, but you could just see if it was something like a 6-week wave or a 5-week wave, how you could make that customizable. Now, there it is. We have our waves. I could go in second blocks, change things up here if I wanted to get crazy with it. Tertiary block, I could change exercise. I could make it some variety. I could change exercises every single day if I wanted to. But for this webinar, I just wanted to keep it super simple. Now, that is our program. We built something out. It's pretty basic. We've gotten the skeleton. We've added flesh to it, bones and organs and skin and all this stuff. But now a couple of different things that we can do as well. You could see that I have 4 weeks at 4 days, phase 1. I could go in here. I could clone this phase. And now I have 8 weeks of programming. Let's just rename it real quick so that way we don't get it confused. Edit name. I'm going to go phase 2. And we're going to call this maybe preseason. Oh, silly. Oh, you're not even looking. We're on my screen. Let's go back here real quick, guys. I'm going to go in here. And I've cloned this phase, so it's phase 2. I'm going to click the naming edit phase. I'm going to click edit name, get rid of copy. That's lame. And let's go to, I always do this. Edit name, right here. Preseason. I want to show you one feature that's super rad in this feature in Bridge. And that is the ability to change exercises across all phases. So I've kind of alluded to this already earlier in this presentation, but this is our phase 2 now. And just for illustrative purposes, as we jump over to the screen, what happens if I wanted to change our day 1 movements, right? From bench press to something different. I could go in here and I could say, I want to switch this exercise with overhead press for phase 2. And I'm going to do overhead press standing barbell. And when I toggle that, I get that option that I showed you earlier here, right? This one. And what's cool is that I could change it from only this instance to all of the bench presses, all of them in this phase. So any exercise that has a bench press in it, or any block that has bench press in it, I can change it. But I know that I have a hypertrophy day and I have a strength day. So if I only wanted to change it on my strength day, I would just select day 1. That's our first lift. I want to change it across all of it. So I'm going to click all days. And I'm going to keep the rep schemes the same. And I'm going to click save. And now you'll see that I've changed it on the primary block here on day 1 and on day 3. It's all overhead press. And then even more cool is if I go out to the load progression view and I get rid of that movement prep, I've changed it across all 4 weeks. So now I've just done 8 weeks of programming. I've changed the primary movement and I've now kept the same rep schemes and replicated a lot of the same percentages and the exercise design and etc. I've just now made 8 weeks of programming in the same time that I've made 4 weeks of programming. How efficient is doing that? That's super awesome, right? And you could do that for any exercise in this program. So If I had, like a bench press alternating, right, I could change that. Super simple, right? So that's just one small feature I wanted to kind of cover. Now, as we go through here, I'm looking at some of these notes that I put together because I wanted to make sure that we're efficacious with our time. I know we're about an hour in. We're at the 11 o'clock mark. A couple of different things I want to be able to demonstrate for us. This is a pretty decent program. I like that. Let's assign it to, I'm going to assign it to me. So I'm going to click in here and I'm going to click Adam Ringler. I'm going to have 4 active programs going. So from here, I can assign it to my athletes, to my team, volleyball, basketball, tennis, lacrosse, blah, 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 whatever program that you might want. I'm going to click next. I have the option of making it as a playlist, or I could assign it on the days that I've designated. So like Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, or playlist where it would just list out all of the workouts from top to bottom, and they could kind of plug and play, a la carte, select the workouts that you want to do. In this instance, today's date is Wednesday, right? We talked about this. I'm going to click, we're going to start this program here. And I'm going to keep it because I toggle these options at the top, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. It's going to populate those day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. So I'm happy with that. I think that's kind of cool. I'm going to assign the training. I'm going to keep all of these programs active, and I'm going to click yes. And I'm going to email notification that person, which is me. And I've now successfully assigned that program. And it starts next week. There's my upper body workout. One thing that's really cool and that I leverage all the time with the athletes I work with is this function. Sure, I could look over and I now have 8 weeks of programming in my calendar all the way to September. And I did that in less than an hour, right? And I'm talking and narrating a lot of this, so it goes much faster when you're just dialed in. One thing that I use all of the time is this feature, and that is being able to click into a workout and share and cast it. Now, you could print this if you wanted to print it out and physically hand programs to your athletes. Here's your program, write in your weights and stuff. That's cool. Listen, I'm an old school coach as well. I love that stuff, right? Like I said, in a lot of the things, I write all of my workouts in my logbook, right? Very old school pencil and paper. However, in this instance, right, I'm not going to print it out. Cancel. I end up doing this all of the time. I click share, cast, I create a link, and I open it on the big screen. Let's see if it does it for us. And what this does is it loads the workout on a television that you can now, let's see, make it bigger. You can cast it to a large screen TV, and they get to see everything organized right in front of their face. You could set it to scroll every 10 seconds. You could show the notes that you wrote, like as many reps as possible. You can click play. And because this is essentially a primary, secondary, and tertiary, it will just every 10 seconds flip to the next screen. And then 10 seconds later, there's your secondary and tertiary block. Although it only has 2 of the exercises, it will flip into the next, right? So we're going back and forth and back and forth. This is such a cool feature for broadcasting your programs in a facility where you're trying to share what you're doing with your athletes so that they get to see the program as well as it living on their phone or on an iPad. Now, we have the luxury of having iPads throughout our entire facility, one for each rack. Athletes just go to it, click their name, bop, 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 bop. They're going into the program. They're logging sets and reps and weights and things like that. It tracks it in real time. Now, one thing I do want to do, I'm looking at my screen because I want to respect the privacy of some people. Here's what's really, really cool. And I think I did this for myself, and I just want to be able to filter out me. So I'm going to disable everybody. Sorry that I have to do this off screen, everyone. But let's go back because I think this is a really important feature and one of the reasons why I like to leverage Bridge. I can filter by all of my athletes' activity. I talked about that activity report, why you might track lifts or why you might have, required sets, because it populates this screen right here in real time. You have a leaderboard. You have access to see Adam did this push day for 45 minutes. He hit an RPE of this. Because the duration's logged when you click start and stop, it now calculates your session RPE. It also calculates all the tonnage, so you can kind of track that as well. If there's tracking reps or TR, 4 reps at 145 pounds, it will then estimate your 1RM as well, estimated 1RM right there, right? I can assign forms to our athletes. I can see the programs that we do, right? It will tell me if my load is up or, in this instance, my load is down. If I wanted to go in and sort of view the workout, I could click it and it will load up all of the things that I've done. Hey, I did 3 reps. I was going to do 5, but for whatever reason, I only did 2 reps. So it's very intelligent in that its ability to be able to show some of the things that you might want to see from an analytics perspective. Now, I think it's important too. I want to jump over here and just show you an example of something that's kind of cool. Let's do something that's like analytics. So load analysis report. Sorry guys, I got to do this off screen again, trying to respect some of the privacy. So I'm going to click into this. This isn't exactly perfect. All right. Well, nonetheless, I'm not gonna be able to do this without identifying some of the athletes that I work with, and I don't want to do that. This is not what they signed up for. So, nonetheless, the analytics functionality of the program is really awesome, and that I love that aspect. But what I love more is being able to program for our athletes in a way that's super efficient. That's time efficient for me. Right? I can't even, I wish I could share what I'm seeing on the screen because it's super awesome to do. I just know I can't do it without de-identifying these guys. So it makes my job as a strength coach so much easier when I can just leverage better tools, better technologies, things like that, where now it's super fast. It's super easy for me to be able to do the programming changes that I need. Now, I will say this, as we're, an hour and 8 minutes into this bridge webinar, I appreciate you for watching what you have done thus far, right? This is a big time commitment to give up an hour of your time. And because of that, I just want to make sure that we do a couple different things. And that is, if you have yet to sign up for the website, right? I'm on YouTube, right? You can just pop over there, check it out, like, subscribe, right? I have all of that. And I want you to take a moment and do that. Pause this video, like it, subscribe to my YouTube channel, hit the notification bell so you get first dibs access to all of the videos that we are recording here. But more importantly, if you like this type of content, I need to know. I need to know that you actually like this. So I would love for you to jump into the comments, leave me a little note, right? Just something that you're focusing on with your own programming, because it's really important that I know that you're doing that. And then maybe lastly, second to last, this is my last 2 pitches, is that, as I've said before, right? I'm going to zoom out. This is my Instagram right there. I want you to head over there, give me a follow. Let me know that you're following me from this Bridge application webinar, that you logged in, you registered, you went to this meeting, you did this, you watched this on YouTube and elsewhere, because that allows for me to know that, you watched it, you were wowed by it, and then you were wowed so much that you gave me a follow. The last thing, and this is the last thing I'm going to ask, is that this is my personal website, adamringler.com. I'm going to go under it right there. You see it, right? Head over to that website, sign up for a free membership. Free membership costs you nothing but your email and about 10 seconds of your time. And when you do so, you're supporting not only myself as a coach, giving this information and trying to share some of this material, but you're supporting everything that I'm trying to do from a sports science perspective, a strength conditioning perspective, and from an educational perspective. So I would appreciate you so much for just giving up 10 seconds of your time. Hit the website right there and sign up for the free membership. There is a premium membership if you want to sign up for that. I write exclusive articles just for that premium website. And then obviously I have the Former Athlete Society, which is a separate entity that I run to help support those athletes that have exhausted their college eligibility, that still want the support and the structure of a strength conditioning coach, but done so in one-on-one calls and accountability calls, Q&As, and masterclasses, much like this. So listen, guys, I appreciate you. I love you. Thanks for giving up an hour and 11 minutes of your day for this. And until next time, everyone, I'll see you when we do another webinar because we're bringing these all the time. So appreciate every one of you.